Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Let It Shine. This is a Disney Channel original movie from 2012. It is an hour and 43 minutes, and it stars Tyler James Williams. I cut it off his name, but I'm pretty sure it's Williams. Tyler James Williams. He plays Cyrus in a story that'll seem very familiar to some of us. It's an old story. It's a retelling. His name is Cyrus, and the girl in this is Roxanne. Roxy. Well, spoiled that. Roxanne. She's played by Coco Jones, and he has a friend who is where is he? It's Chris, played by Trevor Jackson. So these three are the main characters of the film. Now, I called him Cyrus. The original story is the story of Cyrano. You might recognize this story is told countless times in different TV shows as a plot device when somebody is too shy to be able to tell the person they love how they feel about them, and they get somebody else who's a little bit bolder and a little bit more attractive maybe, and is willing to be that voice for them, and they're able to say everything they want to say to that person through this intermediary. And it's a farce. It's kind of a mistaken identity kind of thing that grows out of this. And of course, there's a reckoning for the what's the word I want to say? There's a reckoning for the trickery involved here. So yeah, my brain is tired, so I'm not coming up with good words. I am not a thesaurus, unfortunately, tonight. Anyway, in this, the story I'm talking about, the story is Cyrano de Bergerac, and it's been told in the movie Roxanne with Steve Martin and Daryl Hannah, I believe, and it's from the 80s. It's a good long time ago, but it's been done so many times over the years. Once I realized what was going on here, I looked at the names again. I realized, Cyrus, Cyrano, Roxy, Roxanne. Yeah, it's from the 17th century, so yeah, it's been around a little while. There's even been a recent one with Peter Dinklage called Cyrano, and it's pretty much he was in the Cyrus Cyrano role. In this is set in Atlanta, and it is. By the way, I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but I mean, honestly, if you know the Cyrano story, then that kind of stuff they don't deviate too far from that storyline. Let's just say that. How it resolves itself is completely different than I've seen it ever done before, and it's a bit of a doozy. But I might spoil that just a little bit. So if you're worried about that, I would avoid the end of this. Anyway, this story starts with two best friends who just happen to love hip hop and music and everything else. But Cyrus, he comes from a very religious home. His dad is a pastor of the church, and he runs the choir, by the way. He's a choir leader. Kind of gets in trouble because he leads the youth choir in singing great, wonderful gospel songs with their wonderful voices, but then he breaks it down into a pop music, hip hop kind of beat, and everybody's dancing and throwing off their robes and dancing in matching outfits that are not robes, which, it's redundant, I guess. But Dad is very upset by this because he hates hip hop. I mean, transport this back to the 80s and 90s, and you'll have the same story with a pastor who hates rock and roll. And well, yeah, in this case, Dad does not played by Courtney B. Vance. He's been in so many other things. I want to look it up, but I'm not going to do it. But you've seen him before. He plays the dad, Jacob, and he is very much against this evil, sinful music and the people who do it. And there's this club downtown that has all sorts of people just rapping everywhere, and they do rap battles, and it's just a place of sin and depravity. Well, It's honestly the most wholesome club I've ever seen in the world. People are just dancing, and even the people who are doing the rap battles, they're rude to each other, but they don't say anything at all truly offensive. There's not even a yo mama joke in those things. It's really, it's like, what if your church youth group had a dance club? And you're all Pentecostal, I guess, but imagine that's pretty much what this is. And they have pretty good lighting, and pretty good setup. There's like a car suspended as spotlights, like it's a U2 stage setup, and there's like gas pumps that are not working, but it looks like it's like off the street I think is what it's called. So it's a guy who gets kids off the street, not doing drugs, I guess. But yes, somebody might be doing drugs. I don't know. But everybody's pretty clear-headed in this. Nobody's really being sinful, but it's that whole holier-than-thou kind of thing that the religious father is pretty much against. And Cyrus goes so far as to actually be working there in secret. He doesn't even let his dad know that he's working there because the dad preaches against the place. Secretly, Cyrus is a really great rapper. He's a great songwriter. He can flow. He's got it all working out. His best friend, Chris, isn't so good. By the way, Tyler and James Williams, you might know him as Chris from Everybody Hates Chris. And so when I'm hearing the other guy named Chris, I get really confused. But this Chris is spelled with a K-R-I-S. That does make a difference because you never see the word K-R-I-S on the screen, as far as I know. But anyway, their friend from when they were in third grade, who used to go to their church and their school, Roxy, she's a big pop star now. And there's, of course, in the era before everybody started having a TikTok channel and a YouTube thing and getting YouTube fame everywhere, everybody had to join a competition where they send in demos, and record companies still had full absolute control over people's fate. And it's always a music competition, just like as American Idol is hot, and The Voice and everything else. Instead of just kids singing into a microphone and going, oh my gosh, now they're famous and they have 1 billion followers. It's different now. But this is 2012. This is the way it was in 2012. I can't believe we've come so far. So they send in a tape, and Cyrus makes a mistake of sending in a photo of him and his best friend to remind her of who they are. Like, oh, hey, remember we were friends when we were kids? Well, guess what? They mistake the wrong person as being Truth, which is the name, the hip-hop name that Cyrus took. But they attribute it to Chris. And, well, they show up as production companies or like news people technically just do. They rush into a club with microphones and cameras without permission and just start filming. And, and they take Chris and say, oh, you're the next big star. And Roxy believes it, and Chris is like, oh, Roxy's great. Well, I don't want to ruin this. Can you help me out, Cyrus? And of course, Cyrus is like, I'm afraid to talk to girls anyway. And I really like her too, but she deserves you. You're my best friend. I'd do anything for you. And so Cyrus is the voice that Chris pretends to have, and the words that Chris pretends to feel and think and share. So, and there's even a sequence where they're in the recording studio and Cyrus is all in shadow and she can't see who it is, and she doesn't know that it's Cyrus and not Chris. And there's all sorts of shenanigans that go on here. But of course, you know that any secret that's kept in a movie like this will be revealed eventually, and it all comes down to how that truth is discovered. And of course, there's bullies. There's like a bully rapper that comes in and makes fun of Cyrus being a busboy at the club, and he's mean. And there's some also adults, like older dudes who are rapping out in the street somewhere, and they're having a competition. There's all sorts of rap everywhere, and there's all sorts of hip-hop, and there's all sorts of music. And actually, you know what? It's actually really good. It's not kind of like... I'm no expert in this stuff. I'm not a music critic, but the music's good for what it is. It sounds like radio quality. It's not the kind of thing you'd get in a normal TV movie, I guess. I can't necessarily see the Beyonce or Rihanna singing it, but it's still, I can understand why people think the girl is famous for this music. So it would make sense. I mean, she's pretty and she sings and she's got charisma and everybody likes her. But she dresses kind of racy, and that ticks off the pastor dad. Even though she comes to sing at their church and sings really positive message, and she doesn't dress trampy or anything, but he starts preaching and then like says horrible things about her, and of course it creates friction, of course, between Cyrus and his dad, and it turns out mom knows way too much about everything, and she kind of helps to get things together. And yes, and now I'm spoiling everything. It's honestly like you were warned. But the most amazing thing, and this is very spoilery, how the reveal happens. Yes, there's always, in all these type of Cyrano stories, the reveal happens and the heroine, Roxy in this case, feels betrayed, that she's been tricked this whole time. And is there a happy ending for her and Cyrus in the end? Is it earned? Well, and the most important thing here is how it's revealed. And of course, Chris and Roxy are supposed to do a performance, but he's supposed to sing for real, rap for real, and not do a lip sync. Well, there's a reckoning between the two best friends, and then through a cloud of smoke on the stage, Cyrus steps out on the stage after Roxy and raps his feelings and the truth, revealing everything to a generic pop music beat, apparently, that he can just fit all the words into perfectly. It's... By the way, none of these actors, I can't imagine. That would be pretty freaking amazing if they all actually sang and rapped their own parts. I have a feeling they didn't. I'm just guessing. Because the performances are really good. The performances, the actual lyrics and the songs and everything else, really good. And their lip syncing is really good. But I can't imagine that Tyler and what's her name, Coco, were the actual singers. Maybe Coco's the actual singer, but is Tyler that rapper? Oh, I would think he'd have a career at that point if he really was that good. But yeah, he reveals everything, and of course she responds in song. And yeah, this would not happen in the real world. She'd pretty much punch him in the face and walk off stage. It doesn't happen in that order, but it's close. So in the end, though, does he really, after the truth is revealed and the best friend Chris reveals everything that was behind it, Roxy drives away, heading to the airport, back to wherever she came, California or New York or whatever. Will she return? And does she? Yeah, so there's a big number at the end. Of course, there's going to be a big musical number at the end of the church, and it's the title song here. It is the title of the movie. They do a very big, elaborate hip hop, soul, pop music jam. Man, I sound like an old man. They do this to the song, if you've ever been to church, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine." And that's the big payoff for people who are wondering where that title comes from. So, yeah. It was entertaining. I can actually say that. Yes, it's forced. Yes, it's an adaptation for a specific audience, for a specific time. It's every time this thing gets adapted, it's never going to be the same. Cyrano probably was closest to the era in which it happened. Roxanne took place in the 80s, and there was a guy with a really long nose. That was Steve Martin in a fake nose, who could not show his face because he felt like he was not worthy of the beauty of Daryl Hannah. But yeah, it's kind of expected. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I was looking at IMDb and who's all in this. If you look really closely, choir girl number 1, especially in the opening sequence, the dance thing for the first song, There's a big guy who's doing the lead vocals and singing and dancing, and there's two girls on either side. They look an awful lot alike because I think they're twins. And in real life, one of those twins is Holly Bailey. Holly Bailey is going to be a Disney superstar very, very soon because she is the new Little Mermaid. The new live-action Little Mermaid movie that's coming out in a few months, this summer, I think. So yeah, that's she's choir girl #1. That's it. And she's going to be possibly one of the biggest Disney stars, at least, in the world very soon. Kind of crazy. So let's pick tomorrow's episode.
408.
408. Why are you so quiet? I gotta bring the volume. The volume's up. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Just, it didn't load. Usually it's sitting waiting for me from the previous day. It's not like I charged it or anything to reset anything. Come on. But yeah, if you like the music, like I said, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. It's not my type of music, but it was entertaining and it was good. The performances were great, and the acting was solidly good for a Disney original movie. There's no magic in this, but you know, like it seems like a lot of them are. But like a lot of Disney original movies have some weird magical thing happening. No magic in this, except for the resolution. Yeah. But it's, again, if you like these actors, oh, by the way, you might recognize Tyler also. He was in The Walking Dead for a while as Noah. That's what I know him from, other than Everybody Hates Chris. But yeah, it's, you could do a whole lot worse on Disney Plus or a Disney original movie. So it's not a glowing recommendation, but for me to go, wow, this wasn't a grind. It's predictable, yes, especially if you know the Cyrano story. It is utterly predictable, but it's kind of fascinating to see how it rolls out in this genre. And there's a lot of music, by the way. There is a lot of music. It's not just here's a song here or there. It's not a musical because it's not a stage kind of thing, but it's very much, the music is part of the story. It's not like somebody breaks off and sings their feelings. So it's that. So I've talked a lot about this, but 408, oh my gosh, make absolutely sure, yes, 408, we got a break. We've had movies for so long. We're going to watch a short. This is Small Fry from Toy Story. I know what this is. I don't know if I've seen it, but I know I've seen it when I've searched things in the S's. It's a Buzz Lightyear story, or is it? Anyway, we'll see tomorrow. Small Fry from Toy Story on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.